I do like how everything they make is creepy. I like the creepiness of all their stuff.
They have
An
They have
aesthetic.
a unique aesthetic that must come. I feel like the vision must come from one artist or a small
It feels
number of
the
artists.
same.
It feels like how Juan Vasquez made Invader Zim and Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, and you're like, only he draws like that. From games, you're like, I don't know who's drawing all these like character designs, but it's the same person who draws clearly, who designed Bloodborne and designed Sekiro.
Yeah, they do feel the same.
Or
They're
it's a
different worlds, but they're the same.
Or it's a talented artist copying, but like they've kept their visual style very specific and interesting.
Agreed.
It is unique. I thought it was interesting how even though it's a samurai / ninja fantasy melange, it still feels decaying somehow. It still feels like Bloodborne
Creepy.
somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, creepy, undead, haunted.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, that's enough bonus pre-com for the audience. Let's
We give
get
a lot
into.
of. We just really had a lot of pre-com to
Let's
give. Yeah.
get into the full load of 1upsmanship.
Yeah.
Another episode of which this is.
Welcome to it back, friends.
Michael Swaim, a host of said program. I indeed may be. Oh, as always, with me.
Ganser Adam. Man who hosts also friend with.
Okay, you're doing a different thing
Butchering
than me.
it. Yeah, I don't know how to do what you're doing.
I'm doing complex grammar. You're doing caveman speak.
Yeah,
so we'll meet in the middle.
I'm a bad Yoda, I guess. I don't know.
But what are we actually talking about today? Because it's not Sekiro.
No, we're not talking about Sekiro.
We'll get
but
to it, guys, but we got to beat it first, and that takes a while.
It's yeah. Well, we've been talking about how to cover a From game for about a year now. Like which From game.
And
to
that's
cover.
more on me because you actually beat Bloodborne, right?
I got 90% there. I didn't finish
Regardless.
it, but got close.
It's not for lack of trying, you guys. I wouldn't
It's
be
just
doing
hard.
this show if I didn't. I waste a lot of my time playing
Samesies.
video games,
Samesies.
and I'm as good as I'm able to be with my years of practice doing it. At least 5 nights a week, I play video games.
But unfortunately, wisdom's not a skill that helps you as a video game player.
And yet, I can't get more than one level into any From game, and
It's
so I
tough.
feel weird covering it. Like, I've never beaten the first mini-boss in Bloodborne, and I don't know how I could
The big
cover a
dog?
game where I can't beat it.
Big, weird, lanky
Where
dog
you
guy?
go through the big town gates,
Yeah.
and there's a big dog.
Yeah, big, weird, lanky dog monster.
I have a saved game that has 22 hours, but I'm
Before
not
that
past the
guy.
dog.
well, that is
No, like 12 hours is just fighting the dog over and over and over and over and over and over.
12
That's what
hours.
yeah.
I mean,
I
will-
can't do it. I
Those
cannot
From
do
games,
it.
those From games definitely test you in that old school video game way, where it's like just one more, just one more.
Yeah,
Just
and
one
I'm at
more.
the point where I'm like, I may not have the reflexes for this period. And
Yeah.
It's just something to
Or
accept.
the passion. There was a Donkey episode of Mario Maker,
Donkey,
by the way.
a comedy video game streamer.
Yeah, he's great. Of Mario Maker, where somebody made the hardest Mario Maker level ever,
Mm-hmm.
and like it was very clear that he played it like 800 times. Like he redid this level like 800 times for this video.
And did he?
He finally beat it.
Nice.
And it's like less than 4% of attempts result in somebody winning in this
Wow.
Mario Maker level. It's fucking awesome.
There's way back in the day. It's just the same thing, but there was a YouTube viral video going around that was like the "fuck you Mario" level, and it was awesome. And it showed, I think, like 64 attempts simultaneously,
Yep.
and you'd watch all the Marios get picked off.
That's
until
great.
Only one made it.
That's super
Yeah.
good. I love that shit.
It's like a Mario quantum wave function collapsing.
Anyway, I don't even think we've said what game we're going to cover today.
Mortal Kombat.
Can we just leave that song playing on loop underneath the podcast the whole
We
time?
got to get that out of the way. Is the awesomeness, and it is objectively, like, for what it's trying to be, it accomplishes everything so well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great piece of film score.
Oh, yeah, it's
the
amazing.
Mortal Kombat song. Is that song the reason we even care about Mortal Kombat
It's
so
that,
much?
and because when some of us were young, it was the first time you could kill a character that you were like your friend
In the arcade.
You could kill your friend in
and it
the
was
game,
gross.
and it was
adult.
great. Yeah, it was silly. It was
It
very
was silly, but I felt weird.
yeah,
like when
it was emotional. It was like, oh shit, I can pull your spinal cord
when I
out.
ripped a dude's skull out, I was like, oh, my mom would think this was a bad influence
Oh,
if
yeah.
she saw me doing this. Yeah.
It was one of the most famous controversial games.
And earliest, definitely.
Yeah, like, games can be a problem.
Although I do love the idea that we argue about games contributing to a culture of violence about Mortal Kombat when you're like, no, it's the ones that glamorize being a soldier with an AK walking around shooting people
Yeah,
and
Call
singing
of
like
Duty
that.
is worse.
It's not the one where you pretend you're a ninja from hell who shoots vines out of his palm.
We're not really seeing... I mean, okay, so just to be clear, this is Mortal Kombat 11 we're going to talk about, right?
Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah. It's not the Grand Theft Auto or the Mortal Kombats or the Dooms that people imitate when they go out and imitate video game violence, if they ever do it.
Right.
It's Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that's easier for people to go out and imitate, apparently.
Yeah. So that was depressing. Let's pass our first checkpoint.
Which is a continue.
One of the, I
Continue
don't know,
with
we
a K.
beat a time tower. Take
Sure.
about an hour on the power of tower.
Yeah.
Tower of power. Anyway, Frank Zappa quote. All right. And that takes us to fucking, damn it.
The speed run.
I always want to call it, tell me like I'm 8-bit. The speed run.
should have just called it
that. Was
that.
our alternate name for this segment.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I mean, no offense, but so if you haven't heard this story before, I can keep it short. Adam
it.
and I were developing this podcast essentially for the Crack Podcast Network, and then everything fell apart, and we're like, well, we'll still do that video game podcast because we really want to.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are. But we changed every element. We were like, we can't use the theme, even though it was really good. We can't use the
theme was
title,
great.
even though it was really good.
Yeah.
We have to change all the segment names and the format a little bit. Now we're doing off hours. And I'm like, 1upsmanship could have been called Final Bosses. Like,
Yeah.
Scripps is not coming after us, or they would have.
The only thing I miss about not having done it as Final Bosses
Final Bosses was the original name.
is
yeah.
that we got to play characters and make bits about the characters we were the whole time that we
Yeah.
didn't get to do in this game. But that's fine.
Yeah, there was a built-in recurring joke that
I'm this boss,
we
you're that
hate
boss.
the game and we're trying to
Yeah.
destroy it because we are the boss.
Right.
Yeah. We don't
Anyway.
really have that here.
That's another sad checkpoint. That's a lot of sadness at this Mortal Kombat podcast.
La 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 la. So that takes us to speedrun.
Speedrun, do you want to
Who
do it?
want to do it?
I want you
Okay,
to do it.
All right.
Okay, great.
Mortal Kombat. A bunch of buddies fight backyard wrestling style. That's Mortal Kombat. Stop the clock.
Oh, that's cheating. That's
Really?
cheating. Why not 11? Why is it 11?
Was okay. All right. And to be fair, I never started the clock, so let's consider that a funny bit.
Yeah, bling bling.
Here's
Start
the
the
real
clock.
one. Start the clock. Mortal Kombat 11 is the 11th in the Mortal Kombat series, a series in which a bunch of buddies get together and backyard wrestle. But don't stop the clock because there's more to it. They've held to the formula of 2D arcade style left and right fighting.
They came back to it.
Oh, did they
They,
leave it?
they had a 3D version.
I missed all the games where they left it because I didn't
Yeah.
know that. I
Yeah.
thought that's what differentiated Soul Calibur from Mortal Kombat.
No, sir. They went to it for
I
a
mean,
little
Soul
bit.
Calibur is also differentiated because it's more weapon focused, but this is a speed run and you're wasting my time.
I'm sorry.
Mortal Kombat 11 comes after they did. It's not Insidious. Fucking help me out, Adam. The games with all the DC heroes fighting.
Oh, Marvel vs. Capcom. No,
No,
it's
no.
not that one. What is that
I love
one?
podcast bits that make 1,000 people scream at their radio because they immediately knew it. It starts with an I. It's the thing where all the anyway.
Oh, Inferno? No.
No, definitely not.
I don't
it
know
doesn't
this game.
matter because people who are listening know it. But the point is, NetherRealm Studios goes back all the way to the arcade days, meaning the 80s. There's a lot of love for the franchise because there's a lot of in-jokes. One of the characters is literally the creator's name backwards. There's all kinds of lore. It has like some of the oldest, most, not static because it changes and gets retconned constantly, but I mean like Mortal Kombat lore has been around forever, layering on top of itself, and at this point it's some of the deepest lore in gaming history.
It really is.
Which makes it increasingly silly, which it's like the Fast and Furious franchise. Partway through, I think most people were like, I'm getting a little too old for this. This is kind of silly. And this is saying it as a kid who alternated between Scorpion and Sub-Zero every year for Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
And then Wolverine took over, and I was just Wolverine. But
Same
then when you
bit.
get old enough to not
Yeah.
care about being cool anymore, you're like, Fast and Furious is just fun. And I feel the same way about Mortal Kombat. I'm like, oh, it's just hilarious and fun. And, spawned a series of bad movies. But basically, what this installment brings to the table, which is the bulk of what I will get into in my rant and in the further segments, this may be my slowest speed run ever.
You were doing great for a while.
Is that it's the first one to have robust online multiplayer components, not just ladders that rank you and you can fight people via the internet, but an elaborate tier system with dozens of different modifiers and special moves and ways to navigate the online system through these various modes. So many modes.
There's a lot of modes.
Many modes.
Really.
But other than that, the world is just it's like a melange of every thing that any 12-year-old boy would doodle at recess put together. There's a cool movie star, but there's also a zombie cyborg, but there's also a monster and his arms are claws and his face is claws. And there's whatever there would be, right?
He has the audacity to have lines, by the way, that character.
This guy has metal arms. He punches so hard. It's everything about Mortal Kombat is this would be so cool if I was 12. And I actually love it. So back to you.
It's for the first rant. We got to pass a checkpoint first, which in this case, let's just admit that we had to reset one of these time towers. Right? Didn't quite beat the final boss. Kronos. What's her name again? Kronika. Didn't beat Kronika.
Which
right?
sounds like a new strain I would pick up at the dispensary.
It sure does.
Yeah.
It should be.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah.
So high you go back in time, Kronika, that would sell like gangbusters.
Well, no, I don't know why Mortal Kombat couldn't step into that market. In any case, the rants. So Mortal Kombat is a franchise that I have played about 6 entries in, but have never loved. I've never loved Mortal Kombat. I'll tell you why. Mortal Kombat as a fighting game is somewhat basic. It's not the most complicated. It's not the most mobile. The characters don't fly around very much. It does have a lot of interesting combinations, but it's kind of reiterative between its characters. The thing that always made Mortal Kombat stand out was the fatalities. This game is the best I've seen for fatalities and also for random acts of cruel violence. But
Cruel with a K.
Cruel with a K. That's correct. Violence with a K, silent K in there. Just put K's in all these fucking words.
Although you very pointedly don't do it every time.
Yeah, why? What is the system with the K's?
It's inconsistent.
Yeah. It's incomprehensible, yeah. Anyway, so Mortal Kombat 11 is stunning visually. It's one of the most beautiful looking games I've ever seen, and because of that, it actually makes the world a little bit more vibrant and meaningful than it's ever been before, somehow. I think the fatalities in this game are fun. It's fun to play the game and see what all the characters might do, and there's enough bells and whistles and doodads that it keeps you busy for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know that means it's a good game, or that it's a better version of Mortal Kombat. I will say, as a person who played 1 and then 2 with Shang Tsung and then kind of skipped around a little bit, this has got to be the best Mortal Kombat's been as a fighting game. I don't know what else I would want from Mortal Kombat than this version of it, but I also don't know why Mortal Kombat exists other than because some people like the stupid violence in it. That's my rant.
All right, player 2 rant, begin.
Yeah.
This is my favorite Mortal Kombat. As I said, I'm not a Mort head, as they call them. Because I didn't even know they went 3D for a period. But I have played a fair number of Mortal Kombats, and I definitely played it in the arcade all the time. And my thing with fighting games, which I'm not into generally as a genre, is that I always reach an end point where it's impossible not to see through the fact that it's just repetitious.
Yes.
And unless I'm what am I doing here? Unless I'm trying to go pro esports guy and I'm drilling this game to get much better, I've experienced what it is and I drop it. And that for me even goes for Smash Brothers, which I know a lot of people, that one they can go forever. Every time Smash Brothers comes out, I'm so excited. 4 months in, which is a long time for me, I'm like, that's enough. I
Yeah.
can wait for the next Smash Brothers to come out.
Or like a year from now, I'll get a week in me.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Or a friend I play Smash Brothers with all the time will come to visit and
Yeah.
will play it. But whatever. And my go-to fighting game, because of the longevity, was always Soul Calibur. There's something about the underlying basics of Soul Calibur that is essentially rock, paper, scissors, because a vertical strike beats a horizontal strike, a sidestep beats a vertical strike, and a kick beats a sidestep,
Yeah.
or whatever. That it felt, I could keep that in my head, and I liked the feeling of sidestep, sideswipe. Oh, they're doing vertical, do this.
Or you could actually respond in real time with a counter.
And it felt strategically
Yeah.
engaging. My problem with Mortal Kombat and most fighting games, because Mortal Kombat, we cannot overstate how foundational it was. A vast array of fighting games follow this template, and it's so followed we take it for granted. We're like, well, that's what fighting is, but it didn't have to be this way. But the way it is, as introduced by Mortal Kombat, is you want this move to happen, press this arbitrary sequence of inputs quickly, and it's called a combo. And it generally represents the kind of move you would do, but in an abstract way. Like if you're going to shoot a scorpion's rope out, you go back, forward, punch.
Right.
And that kind of makes you get what, right?
Yeah, high
forward
punch.
and punch,
Yeah,
forward
yeah.
and punch. Yeah, shoot it out. But then you get to people where it's like, well, he summons an anvil made of sand, and it's like, whatever, up, down, left, X. Like it's just a thing you rotely memorize. And to me, that makes fighting games feel technical and prickly in a way I don't like. But Mortal Kombat 11 they reached the tipping point where they found so many enjoyable animations, basically.
Okay.
And so much lore that I think is just silly and lovable. But mainly, so many modes that refresh the experience that I am still playing it regularly, which I never thought I would say about any fighting game.
I'm very surprised by that. I don't want to jump ahead, so finish your rant first.
That's that.
Okay. Let's pass another checkpoint, which in this point means we're going to wander through Shang Tsung's haunted mansion, collecting collectibles.
Yeah, we used
You know?
a special severed eye to see a glowing rope
Sure.
that apparently we couldn't have deduced without the severed eye, and we pulled the rope and a gate opened.
Yeah. Okay, so game on, right?
Game on, my man.
So, is just very briefly about...
Wait, car. Okay, game on. Wayne's
Game
World.
on! Is Mortal Kombat a world or a tone in your mind?
Well, that's what I mean. Is it has the D&D thing where D&D is so vast that they eventually, in the canon of official D&D, introduced the idea of, well, there's infinite dimensions. Some of them are steampunk. Some of them are full of vampires. Whatever,
Right.
whatever.
Everything's possible.
Mortal Kombat now exists in a place where everything is high stakes, and yet it's confusing as to why, because everyone comes from a different dimension. It's not clear how they're connected or what affects what.
Or who's in charge, really.
This
Yeah.
person's a god. And you'll be like, of what? Everything? One dimension? A certain domain?
Yeah.
It's very deep and confusing.
It has a less organized world than the most recent God of War, which I thought was pretty unorganized. Even though it was like from mythology.
And the dialogue and story heavily smack of, I would say, like, B action movies combined with like classic martial arts film
Combined
tone.
with Hideo Kojima. Like that
Right.
syndrome where it's like, we can't ever lose anything we wrote into this. It's all fucking scripture.
But just
You
like
know what I mean?
think
Like, all right, man.
they invented the characters just by drawing stuff they thought would be cool.
I agree with
The
that.
story itself, equally. I don't know a better way to describe it if you don't know the whole lore of Mortal Kombat, but to say
I've read a lot
it's
now.
what a 15-year-old boy would write in his journal
Yeah,
during
sure.
recess
Yeah.
to explain the drawings he made.
A specific kind of person.
He'd draw
though.
a bunch of ninjas.
Yeah.
Me, basically, is what I'm saying.
Right, you can
But-
relate to it. I get
but
that.
kids, but I think it's probably a relatable experience for a handful of people. Like, you would draw a bunch of ninjas, and your mom would be like, "Oh, that's good. Who's he?" And you'd be like, "Oh, I don't know.
His name
he's
is
Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
Because
He's from NetherRealm.
He's
Yeah.
ice powers." And you're like, "Oh, and who's that?" Well, he's a movie star. Oh, how are they together? there's multiple dimensions. And you're like, what's the problem?
He's from movie realm.
A shapeshifter's stealing their soul, and he can be all of them because he turns into them because the soul's power his island.
By the way, side note, Shang Tsung's inability to transform into all characters was a decision at some point in the Mortal Kombat process.
It happened in the plot.
Fuck that, though. Just let him turn into things. Let him turn into everybody.
Well,
it makes it fun.
I will say, and I know they're going to unroll DLCs, but I still don't think, based on the longevity of games support and how many DLCs they've announced, I don't think I'll be satisfied with the depth of the roster, which is spoiled.
Which is interesting.
Because there's, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 8. There's like 24.
But there's big missing characters from it, I would argue. Yeah.
I don't understand in this day and age why it can't be Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Exactly.
I'm like... And especially when there's a long story part that includes people like Sector.
Yes.
And you're like,
and
so
Cyrax.
why can't you... You already even built the model, the CG
and
model.
he has the moves.
And
we
he does
saw
the
him do
moves.
them.
Yeah, just put him in the...
Just let us play the fucking guy.
Let me play everyone that's ever been
Yeah.
in a Mortal Kombat game. And it's funny that sounds entitled, but at this point, I'm like, no, that's a no-brainer. It should be that way.
Look, okay, so I want to make sure that you get a chance to defend it artistically because I can't defend
The
Mortal
story?
Kombat this whole game, right? I would not defend this game artistically, but I would say this: to buy an 11th Mortal Kombat, right? How is it really that different than buying this year's Madden Football? Right, it's going to be a slightly bigger update, right? You're going to get better graphics. You're going to have slightly changed moves, some of them, right? They're going to add modes, right? But for the most part, you're looking for reskins and you're looking for roster, right? That's what makes you buy Madden 2021, right?
Whereas in something like even Call of Duty,
you're buying a different experience.
it's
in
a
theory.
different story set in a different time period with different levels they built differently. But I guess I would ask the same question about Smash Brothers, which is so widely beloved.
And my answer would be no. Smash Brothers is doing exactly what they should do, which is they continue to add. That's what makes it worth buying the new one. It's the same game
with more shit crammed in.
Yes, and Mortal Kombat 11 is neither thing where it's like, no, you're not buying the update. You're like a good update. You're buying a weirdly curated version of it now.
And at most you're getting, if you've had, like I played 10 and I own 10. If you own 10 and you jump to 11, this is why I do think 11's a game changer. The differences in modes is staggering.
They did add a lot of modes.
They put so much more attention into the depth of the modes, but there's only like 3 characters that weren't in 10 that I haven't played before. So it is you are like, what new experience of the core experience are you offering me?
The characters are the lens through which you observe this whole thing.
Yes, but I will say this. The Time Tower specifically mode that has all the modifiers.
It's good.
That does qualitatively change the experience because the sheer number of modifiers, there are dozens of modifiers.
Right. And they do change the experience.
And they add moves, new moves.
Right.
Oh, and even deeper than that, I think the true brilliance of this game was actually the limitation of creating a system where each character has more moves than you can use at any given time.
Yes.
And every time you enter a set of gameplay experiences, you have to pick like a brief menu, like an in and out menu.
Yeah.
But you can only get 3 things of the 8 things. And that way, and they've never done that before, and I think it's fucking brilliant.
Did they have stances before where you could play versions of the character? I thought they used to do that in other games. Okay.
They did have stances. Unless I'm wrong, I feel like this is the first time they had a point system where it limited the number of moves you could add to the character at once.
I mean, what they've really done is they found ways to gate your ability to play the character so that you have to keep playing to open up more possibilities. And you're not going to be able to do everything at once. You're going to have to choose and customize your character to make them the way you want them to be, right?
And when you're, like, let's say you like Aaron Black and you're playing as him, and then you're like, I'm kind of bored. I still like the game, but this is getting repetitive. Mm-hmm. There were many times where I would suddenly realize, oh, but I can do a time tower with heavy gravity and try to beat it just using the fart move that you get from using this special item you get in the tomb. And I'm like, that's a level of strategic complexity Mortal Kombat's not reached before.
I agree with that.
And then also, I would be like, oh, I didn't even remember. I can take away his shotgun and give him pistols, and it's a whole different feel. And it invites me to play close instead of far. So like now I have to relearn, because the joy of fighting games for me is the feeling of learning and getting better at a character,
which this game offers in a more robust way than any Mortal Kombat. I'll give you that.
And even though I understand gating is somewhat arbitrary in that, but it's always true with gaming.
Especially fighting games.
No gaming needs to have leveling up. You could always start fully leveled
up.
But
we like the experience of earning stuff.
Exactly.
I agree with that.
So I like the experience that I switch it up and then I feel bad. I feel shitty again, but I'm like, I'm going to get the hang of this, and I slowly get how to use the character that way.
So counterpoint to this. I agree with everything you said. I don't think any of that's weird. My counterpoint is the reason I'm going to compare this game to Madden, as opposed to like Super Mario Brothers or something, which is also iterative, right?
Yeah.
We get a new Mario. We get a new 2D Mario every couple years, right?
Yeah.
Is that Mario is a franchise, there are certain givens, but every iteration of it, they create new environments and therefore new experiences. Are they entirely new? No. There's the same basic core experience, same with Madden football,
and
right?
Mortal Kombat, less than most, which I think is why it invites the comparison to
yes,
sports.
to Madden, right? And Madden, what you're buying every year is you're buying a roster update, right? Mm-hmm. And you're buying improved graphics. And then every few years...
You get a football, right? They send you a football?
No, you do not. No. That would be a great idea, wouldn't it? That'd be great.
All right, I thought
no,
you
but
got
every
a
few
football.
years they'll add another big mode, right? They'll add a mode. Like, so a couple years ago they added a story mode where you played through a person's life who wanted to be a recruit for football, and then you played well enough to get recruited, and it was narratively really interesting. It won awards and stuff, right? Partly because Madden doesn't have to do this. It could just be a football game. And I would argue that's the philosophy that Mortal Kombat has taken on, right? They're like, we're not going to pretend that we're not going to be the ultimate collection every time like Smash Brothers. We're going to be a curated experience, and we're going to add modes and try things out every time to see whether we can expand the Mortal Kombat experience meaningfully.
Well, and they're in love with story mode, which I would argue...
Boy, are they.
It's funny because I am all about story,
mm-hmm.
and so normally you'd think that would be my favorite addition, but I actually feel like it's pretty bonkers how attached they are to including essentially a 6.5-hour movie with each game they ship. And I think they started doing that. I see reasons for, okay? So, like, I don't like multiplayer games. So how are you going to sell to me? Well, one of the ways is have a robust single-player experience.
Right.
But at the same time, you have boiled your experience down to unskippable cutscenes of a bunch of, let's be honest, ridiculous lore that is
it's
just
very
dumb.
stupid.
That's just dumb.
As a person walking into the lore for the first time in a long, long time, I played this with you. Like, you and I played it together, and I didn't understand some things.
Yeah.
It was like, what the fuck is this?
So if you like, it's called Mortal, but they die. It should be
I don't
Immortal.
understand.
They
but
get
then
knocked
they come
out,
back.
but they come back.
Yeah, what's the fucking deal with this? And is it a competition? What's going on here?
But I just feel like I don't understand their adherence to, and I think it comes from the movies, because the movies are beloved, and I will say,
But only the first one.
I'm not someone who likes movies for being bad.
Sure.
I find them tedious. So if you're like me and you don't actually, you get why people can ironically like the Mortal Kombat movie, but to you it's boring. So will this be too. And
Mortal Kombat 1 is okay as a movie.
actually, it is okay.
It's not
I'll give you that.
horrible.
It really is.
Yeah, it's okay.
But if you love Mortal Kombat,
Which a lot of
I
people
would
do.
recommend you go on YouTube and watch, because they really are legitimate. I can tell they put a lot of effort into them.
Oh my god, absolutely.
6-hour Mortal Kombat movies. So if you like the Mortal Kombat lore, and I like it because it's so dumb, but it's so dumb that also it's a weird paradox. I'm like, it's cute how stupid this is, but that doesn't mean I want to sit through it.
I would argue you and I had a fun time when we were playing through the story mode, right? Like, we were enjoying it. I think we were enjoying it because we were able to make jokes.
It's way more fun if you're mystery sciencing it. Like, if you and a friend are sitting there making fun of how stupid it is, sure.
It's a good experience then, yeah.
But when you're sitting there alone, it's harder to ignore that they're just padding out because they don't. I'm sure they're aware of fighting game fatigue. Fighting game doesn't have the same longevity as an RPG or a Bloodborne or something.
Well, I think they're trying to fix that.
And they're trying to address it in various ways. And I think when you're alone, it's a lot easier to be like, this is just here to pad out time between fights. And I'm not even. I could set down the controller for 20 minutes, and it's just a thing. You're just watching a thing.
At times, it really goes on and on and on. But the thing is, it when you watch it as a person who makes films, which we both are, you can tell a lot of fucking time and effort went into this. Like, I'm not enjoying it, but like, holy shit, the angles are good. It looks well rendered and made. It's like, wow.
It's like, I find this team, because I can see the team through the work, I feel. Of course. And their choices are endearing to me. Yeah. Like, I'm rooting for this artistic team, even as I, from my ivory tower, go like, a lot of your choices are pretty, like,
this
basic.
Is real dumb, dude.
Like, it's cute how basic the storytelling is.
Like, newsflash, Liu Kang sucks, bro.
But I'm rooting for you because the people who are about, they, like, you can tell they're not phoning it in. They care about the lore of Mortal Kombat.
They we're laughing at them for caring about their game. They super care about Raiden. They super care about Liu Kang. They super care about Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade.
Okay.
Those are the ones.
Well, okay. Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade, like, how boring.
They're boring.
I'm not trying
Horribly
to be
boring.
woke or, like, the age of representation, but it's like, I don't know what it is about just the generic white family, but I'm like, can we please kill them and get them out of the franchise? It also bothers...
I just think those are boring characters.
It also bothers the nerd in me because of all the things you're asking me to swallow, and I understand they have mystical powers because it runs in their bloodline, but the mystical powers just allow them to do those little energy kicks and stuff.
Yes.
He's fighting like a four-armed guy from outer space who can unhinge his jaw and shoot lasers out of a haunted lamp. And he's a movie star with sunglasses on. Like,
just
stop it. Just get him out of there. And I believe we texted each other. We're like, get this cowboy out of here, man.
He's fucking stupid.
Totally. I actually think he's fun to play as. But you're like, if you care about your world and your lore, really... Where the fuck? Why is there? You know what I mean? Like, why is there?
There's some really dumb choices.
Why is there a talking duck character here, Marvel?
Real dumb.
What are you doing?
Yeah, real dumb. They're, like, I think Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade belong because of legacy, but they're boring.
Yes.
I think the fucking cowboy is like, what the fuck is this?
He's a fairly recent addition to the team.
He's terrible.
Well, their whole team, the Black Triad or whatever they're called, which is the. So it's also
Aaron Black, right? That's the name of the cowboy? No, stupid. I hate it.
He and Cabal and
Cabal makes sense to me.
Baraka and maybe one other
is impossible, but sure.
Well, another thing it's heavily modeled after is WWE. So the characters in the lore, one of the main like plot points is people switching sides, enemies becoming allies, allies becoming enemies, and they'll always come into a story and be like, these 5 characters are together now, and they're called this. Like, you know how they do that in wrestling?
Yes,
they'll be like, they all
all
rebranded as this.
Right, they're the 4 horsemen.
And currently in the lore, Aaron Black, Cabal, and Baraka are an organized crime group.
Well, right, but they shoved this cowboy into a stable just so that we will accept it.
Yes.
And I'm like, no, it's not WWE, because WWE there are things that don't belong in it, right? Like, there are things that don't belong. Things that
the
are
guy with the mannequin head.
No, he belongs. Al Snow,
what doesn't
he belonged.
belong? What do you think are missteps?
Things that are outside of the current global pop culture universe generally don't belong, right? Not always, but generally don't belong. And in this case, Mortal Kombat, the cowboy doesn't belong because everything else is at least somewhat based around the mythology of shinobi stuff. You know, like ninja / samurai stuff.
There's also like Toltec imagery now and zombie stuff.
But the zombie stuff is still in tone with that. The cowboy is like a loud departure for me.
What I would say is that there's always a tone of, but again, this is why Johnny Cage also doesn't work.
Right.
There's always a tone of violence, edge, and menace. All the characters share
like a weird
tone of
spirituality to it.
Of being supernatural and fucking you up.
Yes.
A cowboy is just a man. It's
like,
just
what
a human
is this
man.
guy with his guns? What?
And no cowboy has ever been like Darth Vader or emanated menace. I mean, of course, you can argue there's some cowboy characters that have like but whatever. You know my thing.
It just
is
doesn't
like,
fit.
It doesn't fit, and what's funny is they try to make it menacing. Like some of the costumes, he'll have a Darth Vader mouthpiece, and
Neat.
you're like, that just makes it dumber.
Yeah, neat.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Or you're like,
how about not a cowboy?
Yeah, it's
You know?
like, what if he had a World War I gas mask on? He'd still be a fucking cowboy.
Right. Like, is he still gonna flip coins and shoot them out of the air and shit? Because
And
that's
yet,
the problem.
The team that... This is the kind of shit that I did love to do when I was 15. The team that just sat there and thought of elaborate ways to murder people. Where they're like,
Sure,
he's a cowboy,
I like that
see?
too. Yeah.
So he flips a coin in the air, see? And he,
Right.
and he looks over his shoulder and he shoots the coin, see? And it ricochets such that it goes through both the eyes of your enemy.
Both the eyes.
And it's
It goes
called-
through both eyes.
It's called coin eyes. Fuck you, snake eyes. Whatever. They'll figure it out.
I wish the Mortal Kombat team was a 20s New York inspired thug.
Yeah.
I wish that's what they were.
Whenever it deviates from menacing, it comes off tonally odd to me. Like, I think one of Cassie's moves is to... Because her theme is like... Oh, also the female characters are
I mean,
written
come on.
terribly.
But they are improved slightly
Slightly.
from previous like
but I
there's
don't
not as
even
much
want to waste
boobs
time getting into it.
and
But
body
yeah,
stuff
like if you respect women, it's not.
that's not
for you.
This isn't the series for you. Yeah, agreed.
But we're still going to talk about it. So
They still
whatever.
they
With
cast
that
Ronda
acknowledged.
Rousey.
Yeah,
Like,
and her acting
she
is
was
terrible.
horrible in
Yeah.
it. Like,
And I think
boy.
one of her finishing moves, because her vibe is like sorority girl, and her finishing
Yeah.
moves are like punching a hole in your chest, then making a heart with her fingers through the hole and taking a selfie.
No, that's her daughter. Her daughter does that.
Okay, that's
Not-
what. Yeah,
not-
Cassie, the daughter.
But that's not
Oh,
who.
Ronda Rousey played
she was
Sonya.
Yeah,
Sure.
it was real bad.
It's also confusing because there's also young Sonya and old
We
Sonya
don't
because
want
it's a
that.
time travel plot.
Like that's okay. That's the thing that frustrates me the most.
Oh.
I don't want the daughters and sons of these characters. How about just a new thing? Just give me a new guy who's not a cowboy. That's all I'm
Design a
asking.
new character that does
Yes.
something else super. They do that as well.
Yes, but then
do
they
that-
don't give them to us.
Do that with all the slots.
Yes.
Like one of my favorite additions in recent memory, and I was really upset that he's not playable, although I believe he will be in a future DLC.
Is this the green guy, the green
I
ghost
forget.
guy?
I think it's like Syriac or something.
Cyrax is the name of a robot.
No, okay.
Are you talking about the Aaron Mack or whatever? Like the
No, the occult dude who floated and did like summoning coffins and shit.
yeah. He's like a magic with green magic.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, look
Quan
it up.
Chi. Quan Chi fucking
Quan
rules.
Chi. We killed him at the beginning.
No,
of the,
no. Quan Chi was the big bad in 10. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ermac.
Ermac. That's who. Yeah, Ermac.
I really liked
Where the
Ermac
fuck's
as an
Ermac?
audition. Where the fuck did Ermac go?
Agreed. Where's Reptile, motherfuckers?
Well,
Where's
yeah.
Smoke?
So, taking a page from Smash Brothers, honestly.
Yeah.
Reptile appears in the form of an item you can gather through this weird third-person single-player mode they do called the Temple, where you do puzzles to gain shit.
Not good enough. Continue.
It's not interesting enough to sustain itself, but it is interesting to be in 3D third person doing something other than fighting.
Sure.
It's a nice lobby experience to kill
That's what I
time.
mean.
Yeah.
It's like, so wait, is this like that face puzzle in Mario 64 where you could stretch
Yeah.
Mario's face, but just like bigger?
Willie
you know?
Beamish. Willie
Yeah.
Beamish is a game that notoriously had such long load times that they included while it was loading a thing that's just spheres moving in 3D space and you can manipulate them. And it was just to be like, please don't turn it off. We
Yeah.
know this is taking a long time.
We
Here's
got
something
something
to
for
do.
you. We got it for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
We got this.
But yeah, I don't fully understand why they take people away and bring them back. But they did add this time. The Ermac, I think, is kind of like a cult Egyptian themed, and they had another Egyptian themed guy who does all like sand attacks. He's dope. And I also really like Kotal Khan.
I liked him. Yeah, Kotal Khan's great. Also, Shao Kahn, when you get him, is cool.
Yeah, I have the roster up, but he's
Why
not.
the hell
for
isn't
some
Goro
reason.
in this game? I mean, I know he's dead, but
He's-
fucking so.
That's what I'm saying is
Who
they,
isn't?
They even had time travel, so I don't get it.
Just bring him back.
What I liked about time travel is they could make changing skins is a more satisfying experience because you
Agreed.
can literally
There's a narrative
choose,
reason. Yes.
Sub-Zero as he is in the story now, which is like a kindly, wise samurai who doesn't wear a mask and has salt and pepper hair and
I
has
like
a scar.
that. Yeah.
Or you can be young classic Sub-Zero, the mysterious ninja.
Right.
There's so much about this game that I really, truly appreciate.
Scorpion was also cool
Injustice.
for that. That's what it is.
Injustice.
Injustice.
I was
Well
going to
done.
say, There's also okay, Injustice is the name of the game that NetherRealms did, where all the DC superheroes fight. And something about Injustice I really appreciated was the depth of the environment interaction. And compared to Injustice, MK11's environment interactions actually scaled back. Like in Injustice, you could, as Superman, throw Batman through a warehouse wall, and the camera would shift, like dolly over, and now you're fighting in a warehouse interior level instead of a rainy alley level.
But that fits that property a little better.
I guess what I'm getting at is I don't understand why they resist the impulse, like Smash Brothers, like Madden. Keep everything that's good that you already did.
It's
just
baffling.
add more.
It's baffling.
They take stuff away each time and like cycle stuff in and out. Like there will be a day when they are like, hail the return of Goro, because we randomly decided in the story a potion brought him back to life. And it's like, just have Goro always. We like Goro. And they're like, we have the collector. He's got 4 arms. And you're like, great, have him and Goro.
Yeah, I don't want to have to choose between them. Yeah. Just give me all, please. Like, there's no reason. This isn't the Disney Vault. Like, fucking give me everybody, motherfuckers.
They care about the story so much that they're like, well, Goro died.
They're wrong.
He's not in the roster because he died.
That's wrong. Like, I don't even mind so much if they're like, listen, for the story's sake, we're only going to launch with these 12 characters, and then in 4 months or 5 months, we're going to have a DLC that's free where you get everybody else. Even that would be acceptable to me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, I understand you have an experience you want to give me first. But, like, don't make me pay for it, and don't not have it. Give it to me.
Yeah.
You know, there's no reason not to. Smash Brothers is doing such a better job of that than this game is.
An archival. And I think that the temple, Shang Tsung's Island rather, is also an attempt at archival, because one thing you'll notice is it's a cobbled together 3D recreation of all the greatest sets from Mortal Kombat history.
Right.
Like if it were if they made a Universal Studios Mortal Kombat lands, it would be that. That's what you would want to walk around and be like, oh, it's that thing with all the statues. Oh, it's that bridge with the spikes at the bottom. Did you know you can actually walk down the stairs to the bottom? They did a really good job recreating all this shit.
That's cool.
So they want to be archival, but they're just not as good at it yet as Smash. Well, Smash is so good at archival.
You say not as good.
Or they're choosing not to.
It's definitely choosing not to. It's like...
Garrus is the sand guy.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I like Garrus.
Their names suck. They're bad at coming up with names,
I also think they're not so good at coming up with characters that are memorable looking.
So Mortal Kombat comes down to, I would say, the actual strategy of getting good with characters is this a long-range character, a berserker short-range close combat character, or a control-the-field type character?
Yes, they do come down to that.
And they're actually different. Jax is like his... what's the name of... the guy from Tekken who was then in Soul Calibur?
Oh,
Hisaishi?
It's not Voldo.
No. The guy with the white hair on the sides that goes straight up.
Oh, yeah.
Like a strong Dr. Wily. He's the most famous Tekken character, but I don't know Tekken.
The name blanks. Tekken never did it for me.
Well, anyway, he to me is Jax. Because, okay, but I circle back and forth and back. I'm like, or is this the best game ever made?
Functionally,
because
is Jax.
They layer in so many different systems that refresh the way you play. For example, when you play as Jax, you have an additional goal, which is to do things that heat up your metal arms, because that unlocks a second tier of more powerful moves once your arms are fully heated up.
I like that. I thought that was a cool addition.
And they do things like that with like 8 or 9 characters, and I think that is pretty brilliant. That I would become Aaron Black and be like, so the whole thing now is getting a good distance, pulling my shotgun out, and knowing good combos that I do while he marches forward, and like knowing how to do that. That's like my game now. But if you switch to Scorpion, if you're like me, your game is now it's the teleportation game.
Of course.
Obviously
it's always been that.
It's always been the I'm over here now game.
It's always been, it's going to sting you one way, or I'm going to jump at you the other way.
Yeah.
Good luck to you, motherfuckers, or I'm going to burn you with my skull face.
Yeah, there's a lot I love about this, man.
No, okay, let me be.
And you know what sucks, though? And Smash Brothers does this, too, and I wish they wouldn't. Toon Link's moves are the same as Link. He just moves faster. Jackie Briggs's moves are highly reminiscent of Jax Briggs's moves because she's his daughter.
Yeah,
and I'm
I don't
like,
love that.
Give me a whole new character that does all different things.
I mean, I think Mortal Kombat's actually a little better about that than a lot of these fighting games. Like Street Fighter 4, for
Cassie and
instance.
Sonya are too fucking similar.
And they're horrible. But
Yeah.
Street Fighter 4 has about 7 characters that are basically Ryu ripoffs.
Yes,
Like
that's true.
different moves that are all in the Ryu
Yeah.
set, right? Mortal Kombat doesn't have that problem. They do have a lot of character models that are not that distinguishable.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sector and Cyrax are basically just 2 different colors. For a long time, Sub-Zero and Scorpion were just 2 different colors. They have different moves, but visually they're kind of the same.
That's
right?
why
Like,
my poor parents were like, "That's the perfect Halloween costume."
because I
They
can just
literally-
recolor it to
They
green
dyed
next
the
year.
yellow on blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be green next year, and you're gonna be Reptile, and then it'll be gray, and you'll be Smoke.
Well, they said, and then I was like, they didn't know that the game that deeply, but I was like, I could be Reptile, but then you also have to get me a Godzilla mask to wear under, because the whole game of Reptile would be to take
Right,
the ninja
that's
mask
right.
off and go.
And then they really regretted it. That was a moment of real regret for them.
That's one of those childhood feelings I remember so vividly is the specific taste and feel of stale breath that is inside a Halloween mask. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you get a Halloween
weird
mask that
plastic
covered your
smell.
full face,
Yeah.
and you'd have that weird plastic smell all night. Yeah.
Good point. I like
Speaking of
that.
which, too many characters in this have those masks, like ninja masks.
Yeah, but that's always been Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat's always been ninjas and weird gods. Why doesn't Raiden have a look-alike at all? Most of these other characters have a look-alike.
Or a
Mylena,
play-alike,
and like,
you
yeah,
mean?
it doesn't. Raiden's the only character. I guess Liu Kang
you
too.
have Liu Kang, and when they portmanteau together into a demon,
Into
lightning
God-
fire
yeah,
god.
into all power
Yeah.
Kang, fine. But like those 2 characters are the only ones that don't seem like they're repeated much.
It's also staggering story-wise how loyal they are to. Well, Liu Kang was the main character in the first one because the creators like truly appreciated
And he
Bruce
won,
Lee films,
didn't he?
And right, but the
Yeah.
reason is they were nerds for Bruce Lee films.
Right.
He inspired the character of Liu Kang. They made him win the first tournament, and now they're like, well, then he's the main character of all 11 movies, essentially. And you're like,
boy.
people like all the other characters better than Liu Kang. Liu Kang's just a guy.
Yeah.
I think
I like his moves though.
but the guy that he's buddies with constantly, I'm like,
The
he's
hat guy?
way more interesting.
The hat guy.
Kung Lao.
I fucking love the hat guy.
First of all, his teleport move is so satisfying to
good,
do.
yeah, he's great.
And the fact that this wasn't true in the beginning of the series, but they turned him into his thing is arrogant to the nth degree.
Love it.
Love
Way
it.
in.
It's interesting. It's fun.
Way in.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why I'm way in on that guy. He chose out of all the martial arts he could have chosen. He's like, I'm going to be a specialist in sharp hats.
Yeah.
Very sharp hats. I'm going to be real good at it. Like that's what the story maintains.
Yeah.
And he does it, and it's fucking great.
He's like Oddjob from a parallel dimension.
Yes.
A lot of the characters from the first game, you can tell vaguely who they're based
yeah,
on.
they're portmanteaus.
Pretty sure
or whatever.
Johnny Cage is Van Damme, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like a clone of that.
Van Damme and Schwarzenegger melded as tropes.
Van Damme and maybe Seagal a little
Or Tom
bit,
Cruise,
right?
maybe.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about the sunglasses.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't want to run out of time without getting into the characters because I do feel like the
Can I say
individual
one
characters
other
are important.
thing about it before we do
Globally,
that?
yeah,
okay,
please.
This game also did not shy away from the idea that it wanted to be an esport. Like when you get
Yeah.
deep into those tutorials, they're talking about fucking animation windows, and like to be really good at Mortal Kombat 11,
Yes.
you have to enter codes in sequence and speed without seeing your character do it. Like you just need to push in buttons like it's a code.
I'm glad you brought that up, and
You
I
know?
actually think it's where the game loses me, and it's
Agreed.
a major negative.
I agree with
if
that.
you're not going to be an esports player, which I am not,
I
because
will not do that.
I like to play a new game next
Yeah.
week. I can sit there and admire, and honestly, it felt like a DVD special feature. I appreciated being like, that's how they think of the game, because Mortal Kombat famously starts with motion capturing real actors, which is unique. That's a unique way to do fighting games. And they still do that, even though they don't have to, almost out of tradition. They're huge on tradition.
Yes, they are.
And the fact that they do that does give it a unique rotoscoped feel
Sure.
that is uniquely Mortal Kombat. And in these tutorials, they're like, so the way we conceive of a move is a tail in, a move sequence, and a tail out. This move is 8 frames tail in. And if you were able to, and they're like, film is 24 frames a second.
Yeah, dude.
And to do this combo, you have to input it within 16 frames of the tail end beginning. And you're like, they're actually laying bare the mechanics of the game.
Right. That's how detailed we're going to get about this.
And that's clearly for people who are like, because I'm going to be playing this professionally.
Like I put about an hour into the tutorials. That's how many of them there are. And when I got to that point, I was like, this could never be fun for me. This could never be fun.
Some of the characters have moves. So I really like the feeling of viscerally, and Soul Calibur does this. You extend a combo by pressing the button right when the previous hit happens.
Yes, that makes sense.
Feels satisfying.
And because
you're doing the combo,
that's actually hand-eye coordination.
It takes a long time for you to realize Mortal Kombat wants you to discreetly enter this 30-hit combo within half a second. Then the move may actually take 9 seconds to do. You just watch it happen.
Mortal Kombat wants you to watch the game,
and that
not
is
always play it.
That's the barrier I can't surmount, because now that I'm 34, literally, it comes down to being so fast with your reflexes, like microsecond things. My body can't do it anymore. I can't do it either. There were moves that I sat there and did over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And my like, I can't do this because I'm not 16. Like, literally, the neurons are not gonna get there.
Yeah, there was definitely a point where it's like, I can't play this game at the level at which it wants to be played.
But the game, I will say, is still immensely fun if you just go, so I'll never do that combo.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, there's 4 combos I can't do. Oh, well, there's a lot of other shit to do.
It's hard for me to resign myself to that fact, but I do. But it also makes me feel like, in contrast to Smash Brothers, that as a fighting game, this game is less about being a fun group activity and more competitive. Like, the tone of it is much more like you must beat your opponent.
I find, and that's why I'm so deeply appreciative of the Time Towers, which are a series of boutique, like individually planned out single player experiences where they're like, all right, now fight 36 people. You have to beat it in this amount of time, and they're all Raiden, and your fireballs turn to bubbles. It's like any set of random modifiers, and they keep thinking of new ones and uploading them to the cloud so you get new ones off the server. And that's to me, it's awesome. It keeps me in.
That's essential. I mean, like Smash Brothers has that too, right? Yeah. Like that's sort of what the single player mode for Smash Brothers really is.
I do love
a bunch of modifiers.
I love the philosophical underpinning of the idea that, like WWE, like a comic book universe, fighting games are playing on just the sheer joy of human nature's desire to have a pantheon. It's fun to create pantheons and be like, who's your favorite? Reptile.
Right.
Oh, cool.
Right.
Something to talk about.
Yeah.
Way to kill time.
Reptile, fuck that.
He's never
true.
beat. Yeah, exactly.
It's true. It is that, right? It is that. Because, like, your favorite, you said Aaron Black is one of your favorites to play with, wasn't it?
It's all character forward. Aaron Black is one of my favorites mechanically to play with.
Yeah, no chance for...
I have no love for his visual design. The voice actor's decent, but I don't get how the character fits into the story. That's what I was saying is, they're part of a... 4 of the characters, their like wrestling team is that they're just organized criminals. So they're in this for like literally a god, an Aztec god from another dimension beyond time will come to them and be like, I'll give you $800 if you kill this other god. And they'll be like, yeah.
You got it.
You're like, what the fuck business do you have being involved in this?
How in debt are you, friend? Like, like, what is your life goals?
That's the cowboy will walk in and be like, I got bills to pay.
Right.
So you're going to fight a giant dude with metal arms on the moon? Like,
right. There's easier ways to make a living, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. So I just wanted to, for fun, go through the characters, say cool or stupid, and why.
Thank you. This is exactly what I wanted to do.
Every fighter confirmed so far.
Great.
I'll let you go first every time since I'm looking at the list.
Okay, good, because I'm not going to look at them. So
Frost.
That's the She Sub-Zero, right?
Yeah.
I hated that character. I thought they were boring.
Stupid.
Also, the moves are just kind of, they're all really diffuse and bland.
She's a robot, so she detaches her limbs and head.
Don't like it.
And Marvel had a character in the 20s they scrapped that was a guy who's just like, his arms flew off. And so fuck it. It's not a good idea. Stop doing it.
I also just feel like we got an ice character. Like, I don't need another ice character, you know? Give me something else.
Actually, I take it back. There's 2 characters I like who remove their heads. Dynamite Hetty and Decap Attack. Moving on.
Okay, great.
The Collector with a K.
I like the Collector.
Love the Collector.
I'm cool on the Collector.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him.
He is Toon Link to Goro's Link.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they clearly put him in so that assholes like us wouldn't bitch about Goro not being there, but here we are anyway.
I like his weird grifter vibe. Like, I like that his moves are fun and
but
sort
he's
of
all
like
grabs and grapples, which Goro
I like that.
was.
Yeah.
And he has 4 arms, obviously, is the connection. Cetrion, Goddess of Virtue.
No, pass on her. I think she's really boring. I think she's a Fire Emblem character, basically.
She's an elemental. I really
Yeah.
love her visual design, especially one of the ones where her hairs are various types of plants.
Sure.
I think
but-
she looks baller.
So.
But she just shoots water, fire, and her. I thought she was way too clunky for the types of moves she was trying to pull off.
She wasn't fun.
She wasn't
Make
fun
her
to play.
fun. If she's a god, make her fucking fun.
And then the surprise for me, because I usually most like the least human characters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, that's your-
We're doing
that's in your
Mortal
zone.
Kombat.
Yeah.
Let's go out there. Let's get weird with it. My favorite, the most endearing character of all, and my favorite to play as, Kung Lao, man.
I love Kung Lao.
with the hat.
Love him.
The
Like,
Z hat move.
I'm not good with Kung Lao, but like I just admire what he is. I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, here we
Yeah.
go. We're getting peak combat here. You know?
Yeah.
I love him.
Liu Kang, as we said, needs to share the spotlight.
I don't
Fine
want
character.
him.
I love Bruce Lee, but let's let some of the other people be the protagonist in some of these.
Yeah, we could do without him. I will say we could do without him as a narrative, as a lens.
As
to
the center of the thing.
But
yeah.
we can't do that bicycle kick. That bicycle kick remains one of the 3 best moves in Mortal Kombat.
And the fact that you can spend your whole power bar and do it thrice long in
great.
this one.
It's such a
just go across
humiliating
the whole
move.
screen, yeah.
You're just embarrassing your opponent. You know, it's so good. Love
Jax.
it. I know you. Oh, Jax. I like what they did with him this time. The heating up the arms thing is cool, and
I liked old Jax.
I liked his plot.
Yeah, me
I thought
too.
his plot was good.
And I liked what happened when he won. He unwrote himself from existence.
I
It was
like that
cool.
too.
Yeah.
So they did a lot with him this time that made him more meaningful. I never found him to be an interesting character before.
This is the
This
first time
one?
I've liked him
Yes.
that much.
Yes. They did a lot of good choices with him. That part I agree with.
Shang Tsung, who I actually haven't played as yet. I still got to go buy him and download him.
I'll never say no to Shang Tsung. I like
Yeah.
Shang Tsung.
But he doesn't shapeshift in this one?
Only the character you're fighting against.
Oh, he can turn into you, but that's
yes,
it.
that's it.
Ah,
And not
that's
for
pretty
very
neat.
long. Dumb. It's like, come on, man. He used to be able to turn
Yeah.
into everybody. That was the best.
Noob Saibot, which is Tobias Boone backwards,
I don't care.
one of the creators of the
I
game.
don't care about Noob Saibot.
He
Cool
would have
moves.
been my so like when I was a kid, to me the definition of cool was Grim Reaper type characters in all
and
black.
he's that.
The Crow and Neo and shit. And then Spider-Man for some reason is an outlier, but I would have loved, and I still love I think he looks fucking awesome. He's like Ivy. Well, Ivy has the whole objectification issue, but also, surely from a gameplay standpoint, Ivy and Soul Calibur, really admire the design. I'm
Yeah.
into her. Very difficult to play as.
Yeah, I've never played
I
her.
find Noob Saibot too hard to play as.
Yeah,
Just
his
tricky.
learning curve is high
Yeah.
to be effective with him. But he has the Spider-Man thing where it's like once you are good with him, it is fun to watch him be good.
He's
got great, cool-looking moves.
We're on episode like 35 of this podcast.
Ooh, didn't know
This
that.
is the first game I've ever played for this show where Jen, who does not care about video
Yeah,
games,
she loves this game.
Every time she would walk through the room, she'd go, "Oh, you're playing that game?" and sit down and watch it for an hour.
Yeah, it is visually great.
Especially if you don't care about ultra violence,
Right.
which she loves horror movies, so she's fine with the grotesque shit.
And I think it's
like
kinda
us,
silly.
It's over the top
Yeah.
enough that she's like, I can't believe this is video games now. As a layman, she's like, this shit is ridiculous. I love this.
I would argue that it's so graphic that it's exactly the tone it was always supposed to be now, in a way it didn't used to be.
Yeah,
like
it's
now
less
it's like,
disturbing.
Yeah, it's less disturbing. Right, you do those moves where like you're in danger, so you fight back and do 8 moves in a row.
Although-
they're so over the top. They're great.
The boss of this game, Chronica, her move is
You love
still
this.
disturbing.
Yeah,
I
you
know.
love
I'm
it.
saying I actually don't think there's anything silly about it. It's really grotesque.
Yeah.
Especially if you are playing the game as Citrion, her daughter, and you lose. She smiles while she rips your body apart and then goes back in time and rips it apart again, and goes back in time and rips it apart
Just
again
for
eternally
funsies.
as you scream.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's your daughter, bitch. That's your daughter. Have a heart.
But she's a Tarantino villain, you know? Just going to
well,
punish him eternally.
She's just a model on a loop. It ain't her fault.
She does have that Tilda Swinton in Doctor Strange vibe.
I love her design. I really like
Yeah,
her.
she
But
looks
we'll
cool.
get there. Jackie Briggs. I'm mad on Jackie.
She's fine. The arm gun sometimes amuses me, but
Rarely.
I don't love her. I'm fine with
Rarely.
her.
Aaron Black. Like I said, fun to play with.
Cowboy? This is Cowboy?
Fun to play with. Everything has their aspect.
No,
is
banish
dumb.
him to the nether realm. Banish him forever.
No.
He does make me laugh. When you play as him, I laugh, but not for the right reasons, I don't think.
He'll piss on you, throw a lizard at you. He's that kind of
He'll
dude.
rush you with a shotgun like he's
Yeah.
fucking Clint Eastwood. It's whatever.
I love people who don't understand the accepted way that fighting games work and come into it truly fresh and ask the question, which is fair, but we've accepted it so long ago that it's jarring. So it'll
Yeah.
be like, but he just threw a hat at him and he shot him in the face. Shouldn't he be dead? And you're like, oh, naive
friend.
person. Yeah.
Welcome to video games, my friend.
Leave those ideas at the door. Cassie
Yeah.
Cage.
They worked really hard on making her somebody I care about, but I never got a sense of her moves individually enough that I cared.
The drone system was a valiant attempt to make there be something interesting to do with her, but I didn't even think the drone was cool enough.
No.
I ended up discarding her quickly.
Don't care.
Other end of the spectrum, Jade. I love Jade.
Jade's great. Yes.
Yeah.
Is Jade's the
She's a revenant for the bulk of this one.
Yeah. Great. Yeah.
Which again,
I liked her.
Yeah, all the lore is like comic book lore. Revenant means 3 games ago they became evil, so now they're evil Jade. Next game she'll be good Jade,
Who
and
gives a
someone
fuck?
else
Yeah.
will be evil. Yeah.
I think only Mylena, who's not in this game, is like the only evil of the
Yeah.
women in the, you know, the
Evil
formal.
woman.
Like weren't all 3 of those characters all in the same game?
Some
Mylena
of them
and
are queens of various dimensions.
yeah.
That's what's funny about everyone's level of power. You'll have like, well, this guy is a god of a whole dimension. Well, this guy's just the king of a planet. Well, this guy, like Baraka's literally like the leader of his union in this area. And you'll be like, well, I'm a movie star in Hollywood. The scales telescope so vastly. You'll be like, I'm concerned about getting a role in the next action movie because my career's going downhill will be Johnny Cage's arc.
Right.
And the A arc will be that a goddess is going to undo time itself.
Right.
It's like, how are these things together?
And they'll still be like having coffee and talking like it's a tweener scene in Die Hard.
Yeah, or like
Yeah.
it's an Avengers planning scene. Like,
Right.
how do we tackle this, gang? What, the unwinding of time itself? I guess we just fight her. Sounds
Yeah.
good, gang.
Great job, guys. Deploy. Yeah, I agree. It's
You're
very
too
silly.
cocky, man. Devora may be my favorite to play
That's
as.
Bugwoman, right?
Bugwoman.
I love Bugwoman.
She has so many stances.
She's very cool.
They diversified even further how many different ways you can play as her. She's reminiscent of playing as Voldo.
She's
She's
rewarding
great.
and still in. She's a little weird for Mortal Kombat. Like, because
Yeah.
it's just a little weird. But not so weird that I'm like, that's dumb.
But no, like way closer to what makes sense than a cowboy. If that's
Yes.
our standard,
Yes.
Devora definitely
I
is
can
fine.
still take. She's also good enough that I'm like, great. Like,
Yeah.
I'll take it, you know?
And
She's
her-
a little weird for this
her
game, though.
fatality where she turns your corpse into a spider and
Yeah,
is great.
wonderful.
Cabal,
I've always liked him.
The design of, I can't use him for shit. And yet when I face him, he demolishes me
I like
often.
Cabal.
I just can't figure him out.
I
Can't get a handle on him.
Cabal, his weird street predator. I'm great with it. I like it.
Oh, you're right. It's fun to realize they're all riffs. The vast majority of them are riffs on existing
Yeah.
characters. He's the Predator.
He's
You're
a
right.
little
His
bit
visual
Predator,
design is Predator.
mixed with like some of the villains from Ghost in the Shell or something.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Kano. Actually, I take it back. Kano is my most reliable character.
You
I
love
play as him.
Kano.
I never
You love him.
expected, but he speaks to me, man. I own with Kano. He's good. He's
that's
all
fun.
solid all around.
They got mileage out of Kano in this story mode.
Yeah.
That made me like him a little better. Like the way that they interacted, like the 2 older and younger versions was like, okay, cool. Like,
Who's he based on? Cable?
I don't know what his deal is. Like some shitty 80s movie, probably.
Cable's a X-Man who has the metal eye with the red eye, but I don't know.
I don't know.
Kano's good. He's an Aussie with a big knife.
Yeah, he's fine.
Oh, he's probably based on Crocodile Dundee, dude.
I don't know. He's got a cyberpunk thing.
Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
I've always liked them.
The buddies.
To me, that's the core of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. They're
Also,
the double
in
dragons.
this version, they were great. The narrative of their story was fantastic.
I have found that in past installments, Sub-Zero and Scorpion are almost overpowered because they know everyone wants to be them and they want to be good at the game.
They're not overpowered in this one.
They're not.
They're fine.
You don't always win just because you're Sub-Zero this time.
Sub-Zero has really good moves. Scorpion always feels like he doesn't quite have as many moves as you want him to have, but he's really rewarding when you're good with him.
Yeah, he's got like the skeleton fire step and stuff in this that I really like.
Yeah.
Raiden.
I love Raiden. He's a dumb character, objectively.
Fun to play as. The staff is a good addition.
Yeah, I liked evil Raiden. I liked good Raiden. He's the stupidest god I've seen in any story. Like, he's just really dumb. Like, I feel like in this game, he's constantly like, "What the hell did I do? Did I do this?"
No one in the Mortal Kombat universe strategically thinks at a level above the level at which people think in a Schwarzenegger film.
Yeah, it's real dumb.
But it's okay because the villains also think at that level.
Sure.
Their plan is just like, where's the most powerful thing in the universe?
I'm going to get it.
It's over there. There's a million souls over there. Oh, I eat souls. I'm going to go get it.
Right.
What do the heroes do? Go there and fight them.
Stop the soul eating.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a god for this world. I'll give you that. But he's real dopey.
Yeah.
Also, is he white in this game?
He's always been white, which is bizarre because he wears the traditional like bamboo dome hat.
This is the first time it was clear to me
because
that he was white.
He's a god from beyond time, so he's not technically any race. But of course, if you look at me, you're like, no, he's white.
Yeah,
he's a white guy.
He looks like
he's a white guy who wears a gi. He looks like and turns into lightning.
He looks like the actor from Michael Clayton.
Yeah,
Tom what's his name?
Hiddleston.
Not Hiddleston. No, it's a different actor.
Garrus.
Well, I've already Garrus.
Burn that bridge. I love Garrus because he's like Ermac.
I like Garrus's moves. I liked his character was whatever. Right? Did you care about his character? He was just kind of
because he's just a henchman. He's a small bad before you fight the main boss.
But he is really hard when you play him. Like, he's hard to beat,
and he's powerful.
Yeah.
Like, if you're good with him, he's fucking
good.
His
motions are all very surprising,
slow but good.
And they like, oh, he goes this way. Oh,
he reminds me of Astaroth from Soul Calibur.
Yeah.
Baraka.
Okay, Baraka's always been one of the stupidest things about Mortal Kombat to me.
His mouth can't
his mouth's
produce
impossible.
English speech.
Yeah, it's impossible. I don't understand
Looking at his mouth.
Stop making me talk.
Physics.
Stop making me watch him talk. It's not possible.
It doesn't make sense.
Stop it.
Kotal Khan, one of my favorite additions.
I like him.
Yeah, the Aztec god.
I like him.
Sonya Blade, we already said we're pretty bored with the non-supernaturals.
I don't need her anymore. We don't need her. Get rid of her.
Johnny Cage, I definitely don't need.
I think Sonya Blade was more boring than Johnny Cage in this movie.
She is, but I thought Johnny Cage was also boring. I could have all of the Cages tragically sacrificed. As Sonya does die in this.
Die in a space plane.
Well, doesn't Sonya die in this game?
Well, then they go back in time and reverse it.
Oh, that's right. That's
the beginning of this time problem. Yeah.
Katana.
Now, Katana had a great combat. She had a real nice combat. I like her. I've always liked the fans.
I can't use her well enough. Her moves are tough for me.
I love her moves. I think she's cool.
Someone I did get the hang of, who's hard at first, but now I feel really strong when I play as Scarlet, the blood magic lady.
I don't care about Scarlet. I am willing to give it to you.
I just think she's functional. She's very functional.
She also is a different thing that definitely feels in tone with Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. And Shao Kahn, Dragon Face. I haven't played as him.
Oh, yeah. Shao Kahn, come on.
I paid for the DLCs and they won't download for some reason. So fuck Xbox on that front.
Shao Kahn is the thing that links this whole universe to Conan the Barbarian to me. Like, he belongs in that story.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
When he takes his mask off in this, or the few times he gets it blown off his head or whatever, he looks like one of the Goombas from the live-action Mario Brothers movie. That's what his head is.
That's correct. I wish he wasn't removed as the big bad, because I think he's the best big bad we've had.
See, I think I really liked Quan Chi. I think Chronica's good too. I think one of their strengths as a team
is good bads.
New big bads, where the plan's always very simple.
Right.
She's going to go back in time and win the universe, so it's all of hers. It's always something that simple, but they're really good at different flavors of it. They're like, this guy is draining souls from everyone. This chick fucks with time. This guy has the power to enslave people's minds. I'm like, at least you got different villains and they hit different flavors of the things. Yeah.
I'm with you on that. For some reason, Shao Kahn feels more classic combat to me. Like I liked Shang Tsung because he was creepy, but I was also stoked into that now he was on the team.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
This now is in the running for our longest one-upsmanship episode ever.
It did feel a little long. Interesting.
So let's pass our final checkpoint.
Sure.
Which is just tossing a grappling hook up at a dead body and ripping it apart to rummage through the entrails for coins. But in the temple level, you're just like, you're digging through hundreds of corpses to find coins.
Great. Neat.
You got dark, Mario. You got real dark. I needed the coins, whatever the cost.
Keep or delete.
Keep or delete. I'm going to keep it because I think Mortal Kombat deserves to be canonized because of its roots going all the way back to the arcade. One, I would keep this over 1. I think in a quiet, stupid, frat bro-y way, it revolutionized Mortal Kombat. For me, this is the first Mortal Kombat game I love ever.
I think that's... I agree with everything you said, but I'm not going to keep it.
Sure.
I think I'm going to own...
Then we must fight!
I don't know if I'm ever going to keep a Mortal Kombat, because I think Mortal Kombat is a little bit more of like a...
It's not my cup of tea.
And I think it's a little bit more of a like a shock jock kind of thing. It'd be like if I'm going to keep the greatest shows of all time, and one of them's going to be Beavis and Butthead. It's like, all right. It was
You're
more
still too proud to... Beavis and Butthead's good.
It's good, but it's not amazing.
No,
you know what I mean? Like,
it's not King of the Hill.
Right. I don't think Mortal Kombat's amazing either. Even though this one is the best one, I don't think Mortal Kombat should survive the Great Purge
on the Celestial hard drive.
Especially not if Smash Brothers and Street Fighter are on there. To me, it's like, sure, we did it. You know, that's fight games.
It'll be interesting if we ever cover Street Fighter, because I think Street Fighter basically sucks.
But not 2. Street Fighter 2 is so seminal. And it's still kind of fun to play.
Yeah. Bringing it back around. I think we started with a pre-cum joke, and now we're seminal. So that means it's time to wrap. As you know, 3 jizz references, and we're out of here. Thanks for listening to 1upsmanship. You can support all our endeavors at patreon.com/smallbeans.
Have responsible sex, guys.
We can't end on that.
Work complete.